Welcome back to another episode of Import Modify. On this episode, we'll be taking care of a couple things on the Z31, like checking the base timing, and then after that, we'll move on to the Z32 project, get most of the engine bay stripped out, and just see how much I could get done in the day. And this is the Easter weekend, so happy Easter to everybody. So let's go ahead and start it. Okay guys, like I was stating before, we're going to be doing the base timing on this car, and it is set for, on the sticker on the hood, it says 15 degrees before top dead center. So we're going to go ahead and verify that, and just to make sure everything is as it should be for the base settings on this car before I start tinkering with things. But up right here, that's where it says 15 degrees before top dead center. Shows you the mark where it's supposed to be. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take some white out and I'm going to mark the line on the pulley so that we can easily find it with the strobe light. And we'll set the base timing on that thing. So basically what you have is, find it. I forget where I put it at because it's been, there it is. So what you have basically is this gun right here. It is a timing strobe light, and basically this clamps onto your cylinder number 1 spark plug wire. And then you have these two leads right here that are stuck, and this goes to your battery, positive and negative. And basically what you're gonna do is you zero this out right here on the dial, and then it ought to line up with the 15 degree mark right here. Or if you just want to verify the timing is 15 degrees before, you put 15 degrees there, then the strobe light would hit the timing mark on the 0 mark. So either way we want to do it, that's a possibility of doing it. So just to start things off, I'm going to set it at 0 and then see how it is from there on. I'll make 2 marks. I'll make one on the 0 mark and I'll make one on the 15 mark. And I play back and forth with it and see exactly where the timing is at on this engine. In order to make the adjustments on it, you would just loosen this nut right here, or this bolt, and rotate it left or right until the timing marks line up with the indicator onto the front cover. And you can't really see it right now, but it is right there, little pointer. And that's what you're going to use to line up the timing. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cool off for a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and find the marks, make the marks, and then I'll get back to you. Okay guys, so easy enough. The pulley was in a proper place, so I didn't have to lift up the vehicle or anything. But if you look down right there, let's see if I can get to a good spot. If you look right there, I got the 2 marks, one for 0 degrees and one for 15 degrees. So we're good right there. I got the lead on the number 1 spark plug, and I got everything connected to the battery, so we're good to go on this. So let's go ahead and start it up real quick and then see where this timing is at. Now we got to make sure that the idle's good. It's already warmed up, as you can see, so it seems to be holding a good steady idle. And as you saw earlier, it was idling at 900 RPM. And right here, it tells you where it wants the idle to be, 650 to 700. So let's just give it a quick second, see if the idling will come down. But basically, this thing right here has a power button on it. Once you hit it, it strobes. So just to start things off, make sure the wires are out of the way. now that we are off on the timing. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this idle down to 700, and then from there we'll go ahead and loosen that bolt right there on the distributor and make sure everything's good to go. Okay, so as you can see, I got it down to 700 RPM, and how I did that just is I adjusted this set screw right here, allows the throttle to come down a little bit. So we're good on that now. Let's go ahead and see where the timing is at. I do have it at 0, and the timing is still way off. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's pretty off. So I'm gonna basically rotate this and then recheck the timing. Okay, I'm idling at 700 RPM right now. And basically what I had to do was play with the set screw on the throttle a little bit and the distributor timing, because whenever you start to retard timing, the throttle will dip down a little bit, and you have to just kind of make adjustments between the two to get the right RPM to match the timing. So hopefully this will pick it up, but right now I have it set at 15 degrees advance. That should line us up with the 0 mark. I don't know if you guys are picking that up or not, but we are at the 0 mark. So everything on this is good to go as far as timing. The distributor is set a little bit far back as far as the retard position goes. Usually they're around in the middle, so leaves me to question the actual timing of the distributor. So at another day in time, I'll check the timing, line everything up, top dead center on the engine, pull the distributor out and reset that at a later date. But we do have it idling nice, and we know that the base timing is indeed set correctly. And I did notice that I'm leaking some fuel right here, so I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna cut that hose, and well, it's actually pretty tight as it is. So hopefully I have a fuel line that I can replace that with, but we'll see about fixing that here in a second. But everything on the car is timed and good to go as far as base timing. And when I take it on a test drive home, I'll see if it made a difference or not, and we'll go from there. So, cool deal. So one of the things that's been irking me on this car is the steering. Is whenever he installed the power steering rack and pinion, he put a new one in, but he put the shaft in 180 out, which put the steering wheel upside down. So looking at the old trusty Haynes repair manual, it just tells me to pry the piece off. I was questioning that, but it just has these tabs right there. I was able to pry it and get it off, exposing the nut right there for the steering stem. So what I'm gonna do is use my 19mm, and it's been indented right there, so I'm just gonna go ahead real quick, see if I could get it to center on. There we go. And hopefully I have enough voltage in this thing to... There we go. Just gonna go ahead and flip it back the way it's supposed to be, and everything should be fine. So here's my steering wheel puller, and basically what it is you have these bolts right here, and if you can see in there, they have threaded holes, and basically these thread into the holes, these two bolts, like that. You have one on each side, and then you have this adapter piece right here. It's a thread, and then it goes over like that with the bolts on each side right there, allowing you to twist this and pry out the steering wheel. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the appropriate tools to tighten it down so I can get this thing to pry off, and then we'll reinstall the steering wheel. Alright guys, we got the steering wheel installed like it should be, and I was able to fix the horn. In order to get this thing off though, I did have to take all the brackets for the horn and everything out. And then whenever I had to reinstall it, I had to make sure the plastic little guide pins were lined up with all the 4 holes. But before, the horn didn't work, so I noticed that one of the leads was disconnected to the bracket. But now everything's on like it should be. Steering wheel's lined up, and we have a horn now. So good to go on that. Now that this is done, we'll go ahead and move on to the 300zx. So now that I have the pieces to complete the drain on the turbo, I'm going to go ahead now and cut the hose and finish off the connections on the oil drain, so that way that'll be all complete. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do next before we move on to the engine bay. Alright, as you can tell, I made it just a little bit too long, and it's pretty much the same incident I had whenever I did the head drain. These things are kind of hard to gauge whenever you're just eyeballing it, but it's trial and error, so I'm going to have to cut it back a little bit, reset it, and be able to get the proper length that way, because this right here is just going to collect on this area, and I need the drain to be upward. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that real quick, and I'll show you the end result. Well, I got to tell you that third time's a charm. It wasn't the second time, it was the third time. And like I said before, when you're doing these things, it just takes a little bit of patience because errors are made, and it's just kind of one of those things. So what I had to do is I cut it, and then I ended up cutting it too short, and then I had to go back and cut the proper length, and I finally got it. But it's just kind of hard whenever you're working with such a short distance. But I was able to get it in there. I got the proper length. And the way it is, it's still on a downward slope, so it's going to drain just fine. I do have a restrictor up there, so it's not like it's going to be dumping a ton of fuel into the turbo, but this will work out just good. I'm happy with the results. So with that being said, it's time to move on to the engine bay of the Z32. And I got just a little bit more time this afternoon because it is the holidays and I'm very pressed for time. I'm just trying to get some stuff done so that you guys can have a video for this week. So, you know, it's just one of those things, man. So anyway, all right, so I'm going to get to ripping on this thing. I'm going to take out the wiper assembly and motor and arm and all that, and I'm going to try to get as much as I can taken out of this and just see how far we can get before I have to wrap up this episode. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start ripping on it. All right, guys, so we got a lot done for the little bit of time that I had today, and I didn't realize how much time it took to get that brake booster out because that airbag module right there was in the way of the nuts in order to get that out. But that had to get eliminated anyway because I did do away with all the harness and everything for the airbag module because we're just not going to have that in the car. So I had to become a contortionist and get in some tight spots and get that thing out. But I'm happy I was able to tackle that because those are the most time-consuming pieces right here on getting the engine bay stripped. But I am set up for a good starting point. Next time I come in, I can finish getting everything out of the engine bay that's left, and then we'll finally be starting the sanding and prepping phase of getting this thing primered up, and then before you know it, we'll have it painted. And once that's painted, we'll be able to plop that bad boy in that engine bay and move on with the build. But anyway, very happy with the results on the drain. Drain came out good. We got the steering and everything situated and the base timing set on the Z31. So now let's go ahead and close up the shop and take this thing for a drive home. So it looks like the car still needs a little bit more work. I mean, I noticed on the boost gauge it's only boosting up at like 3 psi and it's supposed to be set for 5. I don't know if that's a boost gauge problem. I don't know if there's a leak in the system, but it's definitely something to look at. And it gets up pretty well for 3 psi. I mean, it makes me wonder what it's going to feel like once I up it to like 10 psi. So more than likely we got some boost leaks going on in the charge pipe. I did notice that he had some funky caps over some of the lines off the charge pipe that he deleted, so it's possible that those are leaking. But anyway, at least we got the base set timed, the base timing set, sorry. And you know, it's gonna be one of those things where I'm just gonna have to, you know, find the problems as I go and take care of them, and before you know it, the car will be a pretty nice car indeed. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the episode, guys. I want to welcome all you new subscribers to the channel. Go ahead and hit the bell. Whenever I upload new content, you guys will go ahead and get the notification. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. And anyway, y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.